What if you're not actually in burnout? What if burnout is actually the result of a mismanaged mind? Because a mismanaged mind is going to overwork. A mismanaged mind will procrastinate. It will say yes too often. A mismanaged mind will avoid setting boundaries. It will buffer when life feels hard. And then after all of that, you feel overwhelmed, anxious, pressured, and exhausted. And you call it burnout. And yes, burnout is common. Gallup found that 3 out of 4 employees in the US experience burnout at least sometimes. And about 1 in 4 experience it very often or always. So yes, burnout is common. But common does not mean that we are naming the root problem correctly. What you are taught is that as a result of all of the circumstances you're facing, you experience burnout. In other words, the problem is outside of you. Whereas I have a different perspective and one that is actually going to serve you in helping you understand why you're burnt out and how to overcome burnout so that you don't ever have to experience it again. So in this episode, I want to show you why burnout is often not the root issue. And if you stick with me until the very end, I'm going to give you a very practical tool that you can start using today if you are feeling burnt out. More importantly, this tool is going to help you in the future when you notice that you're starting to burn out. Let's get into it. So first of all, I want to describe what burnout actually is for you. If you've been with me for a while, you know what I teach about emotions and how we are always feeling an emotion at any given point in your life. So right now you're feeling an emotion. When you say that you're feeling stressed, that is an emotion. When you're feeling happy, that is an emotion. We're always experiencing life through emotion. It is how we experience this world. Most humans can only name 5 to 10 emotions off the top of their head, but the truth is there are hundreds of emotions that we feel. We just have difficulty naming them from day to day, from time to time, from moment to moment. And how we classify emotions as humans is we classify them as positive or negative. Now, as you can probably guess, burnout would be part of negative emotions. Right? And burnout isn't an emotion. What they're usually describing when they say I'm burnt out is they've been in an emotional state of being that is mostly comprised of very negative emotions, okay? And those emotions, and I'm going to call this the burnout bucket, are emotions like overwhelm, pressure, anxiety, mental exhaustion, heaviness, irritability, resentment, and maybe shutdown. So burnout isn't just one of those emotions. Burnout happens when you're in those emotions for a long period of time without shifting out of those emotions into what we're going to say more positive emotions, okay? And I'll talk about those in a little bit. But burnout is caused by being in these emotional states for a long period of time and kind of spinning in them. So maybe you're feeling overwhelmed and then it goes into anxiety and then it goes into pressure, and this creates burnout. So burnout is not one thing, it's a bucket of emotions. And if you want to understand these emotions and why you're feeling them, because I can guarantee right now you're thinking, I'm feeling these emotions because my boss told me this is what's going on in my family life, my health looks like this, and you think all of those reasons are causing your emotional state, and it's not what's causing your emotional state. Emotions are caused by your thoughts. Thoughts create your emotions. So let's talk very specifically about what thoughts are creating the emotions that you're experiencing that's causing you the burnout. Hey, quick interruption to the episode. I created something for you. It's a guide called the Identity Gap and a short mini training called the Disciplined Mind. I take you through a guided exercise in this training that will help you close the gap from where you are and how you're showing up today to how you would like to show up in the future. This is going to help you understand your patterns better, but more importantly, it's going to help you start changing them in real time. You can grab it in the description or the show notes. All right, back to the episode. So these are just a few, and it might be a little different for you because we all have different flavors of these thoughts, but this is typically what causes the overwhelm, the stress, the anxiety, the pressure, whatever those emotions are in the burnout bucket of emotions, okay? Thoughts like, I have to do everything. I don't have enough time. There's so much to do. I can't keep up. No one helps me. I have to say yes. I'm already behind. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for the things that I want to do. I'm going to let them down. I'll rest later. I just need to get through this week. I have to put in more time. So those are the thoughts that create overwhelm, dread, fear, anxiousness, panic. And when you keep thinking those thoughts on a loop, you can end up living in a body that feels chronically stressed. And what ends up happening neurologically is we start to respond from our sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight flight part of our brain. That's the part of the brain that releases the stress hormones, our cortisol raises, our heart rate raises. So it not only causes us to have more fearful thoughts, but it causes our body physiologically to respond in a very negative way that can be very impacting to our health. So this isn't just emotional, this is physiological too. And another thing that ends up happening is that when we are responding from a sympathetic nervous system, we actually aren't accessing our higher brain that has the ability to think higher thoughts. Okay, so that's the part of your brain that knows how to solve problems. It knows how to manage your time well so that you can get the things done. It knows how to take care of yourself, to rest, to regulate before responding to somebody else. It actually knows how to make better decisions for you. So instead of spending an extra 3 or 4 hours at work, your higher brain might say, you know what you really need right now is to go to the gym and do a workout. And so our mismanaged mind is typically coming from that lower part of your brain, the amygdala that's in the fight or flight response, right? And if you've heard some of my teachings before, you know that your brain has 3 main functions: to avoid pain, to seek pleasure, and to be as efficient as possible. So when life feels hard, your lower brain offers very predictable patterns. These are your automatic habits that you probably take when you're in burnout. So some of those things might be avoiding the very thing that you know that you need to do. Maybe you might delay or procrastinate on doing that. A lot of times your brain tosses up urges for food. I'm just going to go have a snack. I need to watch some TV. Or you'll grab your phone and you'll scroll just to get that instant reward. Another thing that your brain will tell you to do is to overwork to relieve some of the anxiety. So this part of your brain isn't trying to ruin your life. It's trying to protect you from feeling discomfort. So burnout feels like it's the problem for you, but burnout is actually the result. It is the cause of the mismanaged mind. So I want to be super clear here because I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for saying that your circumstances aren't causing burnout. But if we take on that conclusion, then it leaves us very powerless, right? We have to change all of these things in our life in order to feel calm, in order to feel like we can handle everything in our life. And that's just not the case. And how we know that is that some people are able to handle a lot of things versus other people. And the difference is not that this person is super disciplined and they have this capacity and this person doesn't. It's the difference in how they're thinking about their circumstances. What I'm saying is much of what we call burnout is actually a thought-created emotional experience. And we keep recreating it because we have a mismanaged mind. That's why we can go through something like burnout and then try to change all of these things around us, but then experience burnout again, even when we have less on our plate. Because if burnout is just something that happens to you, you end up staying very powerless. But the way that I'm teaching you is that burnout is created by the thinking that you have that's creating your emotional state of being. And from that emotional state of being, you end up taking more actions that create the result of being burnt out. So because you're creating it by your thinking, you can uncreate the burnout. So the first question is not, how do I stop feeling burnt out? The first question is, what am I thinking that is creating this emotional state for me? And remember, the emotional state, I'm talking about the emotions. What are you feeling? So if it's overwhelm, what is the thought that is creating that for you? And remember, a thought is just a sentence in your mind. As soon as you understand what that sentence is, maybe it's, there's so much to do, you can create a new sentence in your mind that is believable, that is true, that will change your emotional state of being. You will feel less stress just by choosing to think this other thought. So let's talk about the circumstance in your life that you may have first. So here's an example. You have this circumstance of a full calendar, and your thought is, I can't handle this. Your feeling is overwhelmed. And remember, your feelings cause your actions. So what do you do when you're feeling overwhelmed? You procrastinate. Maybe you go on your phone and you buffer. Maybe you end up rushing, and maybe you're a little bit resentful. And the result of all of those actions is you feel more burnt out. You feel like there's too much going on for you. And you probably tell yourself that same sentence again, there's just too much to handle. So once you're clear on the thoughts that are creating that emotion for you, you can start replacing them with thoughts that are more useful. So instead of this is too much, you could start thinking, I can do one thing at a time. I know that I'm going to get this all done. I can decide what actually matters right now. And this is the kind of coaching that I do inside of my 10-week Disciplined Mind Accelerator. So this is the program that I have for men and women who have a goal in their life. Usually it's a result that they want. And for 10 weeks, they get that result, or they're well on their way to getting that result. And part of the process of this disciplining your mind is stepping into the new identity of somebody who can handle anything. They can handle any circumstance and know that they're going to maintain their power. And how they maintain their power is by managing their mind, aka disciplining their thoughts. So if you're currently not showing up in your life the way that you want to show up and you feel like you're always starting and then stopping, this is a powerful 10 weeks where I can actually walk you through these processes and frameworks that can get you to become the person that you actually are very proud of being. So I want to be very clear. I'm not denying that you may feel exhausted. I'm not denying that your life may be full, but I want to challenge the label that you're burnt out, because most often than not, your burnt out life is just a mismanaged mind, a mind that hasn't been taught how to plan ahead, how to feel emotion without buffering, setting and upholding boundaries, and most importantly, stopping rehearsing stressful thoughts. Stop indulging in the burnt out bucket of emotions, and really the awareness of knowing when you're stepping into those emotions and having the capability and the skills to get out of them and to get into the emotional state of being that is very powerful. Okay, so you're not broken. You're not doomed to a life of exhaustion and busyness and craziness. You just need to learn how to manage your mind. That's it. All right, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to check out the link in the show notes for the identity gap and the disciplined mind. It's a free training that's going to help you close the gap from where you are today to where you want to be. And if you like this episode, don't forget to hit subscribe, leave me a comment. I would love to hear from you. If you haven't yet, you should definitely check out these 2 videos next, and I will see you on next week's episode.